everyone's doing well. So today I'm going to show you how to make a gluten-free and vegan pastrami using the base recipe that I showed you in the initial part of this series. This episode is the fourth in the series of the healthy, vegan, and gluten-free deli meat series. So pastrami is a type of cured meat, and it's made traditionally from beef brisket. But since this show is all about gluten-free and vegan foods, of course, this pastrami that I will be showing you will not have beef in it, but instead will be made out of hemp seeds and Moong Dal or split yellow lentils. In this video, I'm also going to be making a sandwich out of the pastrami. What I'll be showing you is, well, it's kind of like a Reuben. It's kind of like a Rachel. Maybe it's a Reuben Rachel. I think what I'm going to do is blend the two together. So if you've been following this series, you know that the initial base, as I mentioned, is made from hemp seeds and the split yellow lentils, and then a combination of spices. And then I cook that over the stove first, and then I transfer it to a steamer where I steam it. In the pepperoni episode, instead of steaming, I baked it. In this particular episode and for this recipe, I will be doing both the cooking on the stove and then also steaming. But how this recipe differs from the others is that the loaf I'm going to show you how to make is going to have a nice spice rub coating on the outside. So let's move on to me showing you how to make the actual pastrami. Using 1/2 cup of the split yellow lentils that have been soaked overnight, drained, and rinsed really well, add these to a high-speed blender. To those, add 1/2 cup of hemp seeds. I took 1 bouillon of Not Beef by Edward & Son, and I dissolved that in 1 cup of warm water. In the alternative, you could use 1 cup of beef-flavored vegetable broth. I added this to the hemp seeds and yellow lentils. I blended these for about 1 minute until I had a smooth liquid. To this, I then added 2 tablespoons of gluten-free soy sauce. If you can't have soy, you could use coconut aminos or pea protein-based tamari. I added 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, 2 tablespoons of sorghum flour, 2 tablespoons of gluten-free Worcestershire sauce, 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika, 1 tablespoon of tapioca starch, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of coriander, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of beetroot powder to help turn the deli meat brown when it cooks, 2 teaspoons of cane sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of ground mustard, and 1 teaspoon of liquid smoke. I then blended all of these ingredients together until I had a very smooth liquid. In a separate small bowl, I placed 2 tablespoons of agar powder, and I added 1/2 cup of water, and I stirred that all together to allow everything to combine, and I allowed it to set for about 5 minutes to gel. I then added the gelled liquid agar mixture to the other ingredients in the blender. So I knew in addition to brown, I wanted a slight red color to my pastrami. So I purchased these food colorings that are natural, and I added a bit of that to the mixture. I then blended all the ingredients together again for about another minute to make sure everything was well combined. I then poured that liquid mixture into a nonstick saucepan that I had on the stove. I then turned this on medium heat to bring it to a low boil. And then after boiling, I just started stirring with a spatula and I continued to stir to allow the mixture to thicken. And eventually it became so thick that it was dough-like, but I continued to stir until the entire mixture became a big mass of dough. And as it thickened, I would just flip it over continuously and smashing it down to allow all sides to heat and to cook. And I did this process for 10 minutes. I then placed a piece of foil on my counter and topped that with some parchment paper. And then I turned the dough out on top of the parchment paper. Using 2 spatulas, I then formed the dough into a loaf that would resemble a nice pastrami loaf. I then wrapped this loaf with the parchment paper and the foil, and then I put another piece of foil over the top of that foil and parchment paper just to make sure everything was well sealed. I pressed firmly on all sides because I wanted to keep the shape of the loaf. And then place a strainer over a pot of boiling water to create a steaming basket. And so what I did was I placed the loaf inside and I allowed that to steam for 35 minutes. And then I covered that and then steamed it for 35 minutes. And then I flipped it over at the 35-minute point and steamed it for another 35 minutes. After steaming for about 70 minutes, I took it out of the steamer and placed it on the counter to cool for about a half an hour. After cooling for about 30 minutes, I opened up the papers and then I dried off the loaf with some paper towels because I was getting ready to coat it. So to get the spice rub to stick to this loaf, I created a flavorful glaze, if you will. It's made with 1 tablespoon of maple syrup, 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, and then 1 teaspoon of soy sauce, gluten-free soy sauce, of course. You can substitute if you need to. And then I glazed that on top of all sides of the loaf. I then added the rub to that glaze, and the rub is made with 2 tablespoons of peppercorns, 2 tablespoons of coriander, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon onion powder, and 1 teaspoon of ground mustard, and 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. I then placed the loaf on a parchment-lined baking tray. I then placed that in the oven on broil for about 5 minutes, and I allowed the top to caramelize a bit. You want to keep your eye on this so it doesn't burn. I allowed the loaf to cool to come to room temperature. I think it took about 45 minutes. And then I wrapped it in plastic wrap as tightly as I could, and then I placed it in the refrigerator to cool overnight. Now that we have our pastrami made, let's move on to making a sandwich with this pastrami. And as you know, I mentioned that I want to show you a sandwich, which is kind of like a combination of a Reuben and a Rachel. So what is a Reuben and what is a Rachel? So a Reuben is traditionally made with rye bread, and it uses beef brisket, and it has melted Swiss cheese and sauerkraut and Russian dressing, and then it's grilled. And then a Rachel has the rye bread, and instead of the beef brisket, it can have pastrami or turkey, and it has the Russian dressing, and it has instead of the sauerkraut, it has coleslaw. So why do I say that I'm making a combo of the two? That's because, well, first of all, since it's a gluten-free and vegan sandwich, we can't have rye if you're celiac or if you're truly gluten-free, because rye is a form of gluten. So I have pumpernickel bread. I thought that would be close enough. I get it from Simple Needs. It's a really great bread if you haven't tried it yet. But so I'm using that bread. I'll toast it, and then I'm adding our pastrami, and I'm going to put on some Swiss cheese, and I'm going to show you how to make a Russian dressing. This is like a Thousand Island dressing, but the difference is it adds some horseradish sauce, some Worcestershire sauce, and it also has pickle relish. And so we're going to put that on, the Swiss cheese, the Russian dressing, as I mentioned, and oh, I know, I'm not putting coleslaw on this. I'm putting sauerkraut on it. So I'm going to then put everything together and grill it. So that's why I say I'm making a combo Rachel-Reuben sandwich. So to make a gluten-free and vegan Russian dressing, you're going to start with 1/2 cup of vegan mayo, 2 tablespoons of ketchup, 2 tablespoons of dill pickle relish, about 2 teaspoons of horseradish, about a teaspoon of gluten-free Worcestershire sauce, about a 1/2 teaspoon each of garlic powder and onion powder, about 1/4 teaspoon of paprika, and a pinch of salt and black pepper. I then stirred everything together really well, and I placed the Russian dressing in little storage containers that I placed in the fridge to have at a later time when I made the sandwich. So I have all my ingredients here to make the Reuben Rachel combo sandwich. So I have the pastrami, which has this nice flavorful crust on the outside. And so I have some cheese. It's not Swiss flavored cheese, but it's a provolone by Follow Your Heart. I couldn't find gluten-free and vegan Swiss cheese. I think the Daya brand has one, but if you have a good one that you like, let me know. And then I have my Russian dressing ready, and I have some sauerkraut ready here to go. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to make this. I'm going to first actually take these and warm them up in a pan where I'm going to grill my sandwich. Here with some vegan butter in it that's melted. I'm going to put 2 pieces of the pastrami in the pan just to warm them up and yeah, give them a bit of a browning before I put them in the sandwich. I'm going to give these a little bit of a flip. So I had a viewer, hi Adam, a viewer named Adam asked in the turkey episode if these deli meats can be fried and if they hold up. Well, as you see here, they're holding up quite well. So, I mean, if you wanted to serve these as a roast, you probably could. But as I said in my last episode, I'm hoping to work on something that would serve more as a roast than the deli meat. But these certainly fry up fine. In fact, you know, you could slice a large slice and then just serve those after you heat them up in a pan. I'm going to start by showing you, well, first I took these 2 pieces of pumpernickel by Simple Needs, and I toasted them a bit just to make them a bit firm because these can bend and break a bit. So when you toast them, they are a bit better. But so I'm going to put some of the Russian dressing on both sides. So now I'm going to add the pastrami. I think I'll put it on this way. Put 1 slice there. I don't know if I can get 2 slices on here, but let's see. Scooch that in the middle. And then I'm going to add I think I'm going to add the cheese next. So I want to layer this to cover all of the meat. And so I'm going to grill this then so it melts. Now I'm adding some of the sauerkraut. So I should really heat this up, but I didn't. I don't mind if it's a bit cool. This is a really good brand. It's nice and fermented. Okay, so this is very thick. It's also oozing and dripping, but I'm going to put it in the pan and grill it with some more butter. So I just placed this in a pan with some more melted butter, and I'm going to like toast or grill both sides. I am going to press it down a bit. It's a bit thick. I really want the cheese to melt, but that's on the other side, so I'm going to have to flip this. Okay, so I managed to flip this, and I put some more butter on the bottom. It's vegan butter, of course. So I'm gonna let this sit here for a few minutes. Well, not a few minutes, maybe just like a minute, and turn down the heat. Okay, so I'm gonna give this sandwich a taste test for you. I have to confess, this is my second sandwich. It's so delicious. It's a very sloppy sandwich, so get ready for that. But I'll give you a look at this here, and you could see the pastrami inside. Well, there's the sauerkraut, the cheese, and then yes, there's Russian dressing in there. But let me give it a taste test and tell you my thoughts. Mm. There's so much going on with the sandwich in a good way. The pastrami shines through. It's got a very yeah, prominent flavor in the sandwich. Unlike some of the other sandwiches I made, the turkey, except for the pepperoni had a strong flavor too. This has both flavor within the pastrami, and the exterior crust just adds a whole other layer of flavor. And when you combine it with the sauerkraut, the Russian dressing, and the cheese, I mean, you have an excellent sandwich going on here. Oops, dropped something on the floor. It's so good. I'm going to have another bite. Mm. Yesterday, I had this with a side of some vinegar, potato chips, and some pickles. It's so good. Hey, I hope you've really enjoyed this video, and I really would appreciate it if you support the channel and its growth. So by doing so, I can have the time to make more videos to help all of us who are gluten-free and vegan. So please support the channel by hitting the like button if you've enjoyed the video, subscribing if you haven't, and also check out these next videos.